let's get to my setup. So I just want to show you my setup for tonight. It is the Specialized Diverge, of course, so the gravel bike, and I'm using Tailfin as my bike packing setup. So the review I'll link to if you haven't seen it already, but as you can see, it's they're panniers, but they're pretty small compared to your normal touring ones, and they have this carbon frame here. So it's a great setup for me. I like it. It is, I mean, I noticed the extra weight, but as far as the bags on the back, I don't even think about them in the sense that they don't move. I can ride the bike as I normally would. And they're really no wider than my handlebars, so in the sense that, in that sense, the bike isn't any bigger, so that's great. And then, of course, I've got my water bottles, 2 of them today, and then my front handlebar bag, which is mostly at the minute just camera stuff and gilet. So yeah, pretty basic setup. This is the setup I used when I went on a little overnight adventure last weekend. GoPro, of course, my GoPro mount, and my front handlebar bags. So in this bag on my adventures, I had my gilet in case it cooled off when the sun went down or in the morning when we started. And in here I kept my multi-tool, and this is also the bag. So I carry a little bit of extra stuff usually when I ride because I'm sharing it with you guys. So my camera batteries, my spare batteries, they all usually live in this bag, which is why you see me sometimes with this bag and a saddle bag. Oh yes, spare chain links, tools. I also had food in there, so you know, just quick snacks to get at quickly. So that's what was in there. I have my rain jacket, which the first day was in the back, and the second day I wore because we got poured on all morning. It just made it more of an adventure though. So it was actually quite warm. Usually in the UK when it rains it is not warm. Yeah, and it was warm rain, so absolutely I don't mind if it's warm. So I used the Tailfin setup, so I should talk to you about that. I had the Tailfin on my Canyon. You may have seen the review, and I used the Canyon for that, which is a carbon bike. I swapped it to the Diverge. The Diverge also has a through axle, so it was very easy to swap, but if it had a quick release, which would be very strange on a gravel bike, Tailfin can do quick release setups as well, just so you know. But I didn't carry a lot, so let's see what's in here. All right. So this is my sleeping mat. My sleeping mat, yes, if everyone can comment how big it is. It is big. I would like to get another one, but it's not in the budget right now, so I'm living with my very good Thermarest. I love this mat. It is 4 seasons. That's why it's so big. It's also very comfortable. I'm a side sleeper, so it's important. This is the machine that blows up my air mattress. This preserves the life of your mattress, so you may think it's not worth the weight and you could just blow it up yourself, but I find at the end of the day I'm very happy to have this, and it prolongs the life of your mattress. So that's why I have that. This is my puncture repair kit, but what you can't see, that reminds me, is that inside of the tires I have some inserts by Tennis, and I started testing them. This was the first proper ride I took them out on and gave them a good battering, so I love the confidence that mentally it gave me that I didn't have to worry about hitting sharp stones or sharp rocks because the inner tube in there was going to be protected. So it's a shield between your tire and your inner tube. You get a slightly smaller inner tube than normally you'd put in that size tire. It goes inside the insert goes inside the tire, and if you do happen to manage to get something to go through the insert and puncture your inner tube, you've got protection for your rim. All of that mentally is a humongous gain for me, so I love that. But I still brought a puncture repair kit. So my coffee cup for the morning, and these are like oat cake type snacks that I didn't finish. I ate almost everything. So we were talking, the girls and I at the camp, about, you know, what we bring, our sort of luxury item. Bed socks, they're my luxury item. I want clean, dry socks at the end of the day. They make me feel great. So those are my bed socks. My shirt I slept in. My bivy bag, so we were bivvying. It was really warm, like I said, so it was great to bivvy in the warm. I bivvied in the cold. My battery pack, so I brought my battery pack and didn't bring my cables, but luckily there was other girls with cables that I could borrow, so that was fine. My shovel for number 2. Yep. Sorry, I've yet to use that shovel. We were talking about that. Someone else in our group also had the same one. My pump, I brought the big pump because I thought if I wanted to experiment with air pressure, this would make my life easier. I had the space for it, so brought that. Oh yes, this is just my bin bag, so leave no trace, people. You gotta bring it back with you. I won't show you my garbage. And this is just my cosmetics bag with, I brought toothpaste, liquid hairbrush, mascara, have my, oh yeah, my sunscreen, but I didn't need it at all, but I still put it on. That's that, and that is everything in here. These bags, they do have little pockets, so I'm just checking in the side pockets, but yeah, they're empty, so that is everything in that bag. People talk about the aerodynamics and things now. Tailfin has a new one that's going to come off the back, but not attached to the, not like a saddle bag, but comes off the rack in the back. So if you're worried about that, that's their new product coming out. I don't worry about it because I'm going through a bunch of bushes. I'm not worried about going fast and being aerodynamic. That's my personal opinion. It's not, yeah. On this type of riding, it's not my concern. All right, bag 2. My jacket for camp at night, so my little down ultralight. My sleeping bag. So my sleeping bag, if you watch my setup for the Wales trip, you'll know that I want to upgrade this to a 4 season. This is a 3 season, which in the UK isn't even warm enough for summer, but luckily it only went down to 14 or 13 on the night, so this was plenty warm, so I had a good time. I would like to get a compression sack, so for being able to compress it down just a little bit more. My tarp, so just to sit on the ground, it's quite lightweight. My headlamp for camp, very handy. My sleeping merino wool leggings. And that is it. Check the pockets. Oh yeah, I just bring that for the through axles on my wheels, just better leverage with that. So I carry that with me. And that is everything. So that is everything in my bags. Of course I brought my 2 water bottles because when you're camping you want as much water as you can. I used, like I said, the mountain bike pedals, the Garmin, the helmet, yeah, and that is my setup. So it's pretty simple when you're going, if I could go away with this probably for 3 nights, and it would still be fine. There'd just be some extra food in there, but I had plenty of extra space, and I don't know if you noticed before I undid them, so plenty of extra space to put food in there, no problem. Yeah, so it was a pretty lightweight setup, yeah, it's pretty good. I got up all the hills that were possible to cycle up. One of them was a 18%er after a beer. so this bike gave me the gearing I needed, and even with the weight I was able to get up some pretty steep hills and some longer hills. So I was really happy with the gearing on the bike. Would I buy a gravel bike? That's sort of the question at the minute. I'm actually leaning towards a mountain bike because I feel like if I'm going to go off-road adventuring, it's going to be for shorter distances. I'm likely to maybe even like get transport there to wherever the trails are, or take the train or put them on the back of the car, then try to patch together a longer ride with roads and a trail and another trail and roads. Yeah, so I just think for me off-road riding is going to be about a lot shorter rides, and I think I'd enjoy having the hydraulics, so I have to test this theory. I haven't actually properly ridden a mountain bike. So that is the next thing, to go rent a mountain bike, give one a ride, and not because I didn't like the gravel riding, but just because if I think I'm going to be off-road riding, I'm going to try to make it as comfortable as possible, and then when I want to do on-road riding, I'll go on my road bike for long distances. That's sort of the mindset right now, that's sort of my thought process. But, I'll rent a mountain bike and then maybe I'll find that too sluggish or, just not my style. So we'll see, because I did enjoy this bike. It was fun to ride, but it's just a question of what type of off-road riding I'll be doing and what I want to ride. So stay tuned, I'm still figuring this out. So I asked you guys if you had any questions on Instagram about this bike, and I got some questions about the Future Shock, so hopefully my earlier comments cleared anything up for people. But also, I don't have a lot to compare it to, so somebody asked how it affects the handling. I wasn't conscious of it. I didn't think, oh, I feel like wobbly. Again, I'm very small and lightweight on top, so I don't have it bobbing a lot when I put pressure on. I have to put quite a bit of pressure down from the top to... It was mostly helping me from the bottom when I was hitting things. So I didn't feel like it was bobbing on me or anything like that, so I don't feel like it affected the handling and steering that much, if at all, because I wasn't conscious of it. Somebody asked about riding with the weight on the bike. Other than the bike was heavier because I had a few pounds on the back, honestly, I did not think about the bags at all. I wasn't thinking about them because they don't move, they don't make any noise. They're, like I said, the profile is about the same as your handlebar width. They don't stick out further than that, so I don't have to worry about going through something and fitting the front end through and getting jammed or hitting a post or something. If, you know, my handlebar went past it, the bag was going to fit because it was no wider. So amazing stable system. Can't praise Tailfin enough, and I look forward to many more rides on. And the fact that it fits on multiple different types of bikes, I love it that because they use the axle as the support. Because they use the axle as the support system with the stabilizer on the seat post. It's a great setup. It's a good bike on road. It's a great bike off road. Put luggage on it. It rides. If you know, with this system, it's stable. You don't think about it, and that's what I want. I don't want to think about things bouncing off my bike, or, you know, saddlebags swaying, or frame bags rubbing my legs. I don't want any of that. So you put them on, you think you're on a normal bike that's just suddenly a little bit heavier, and that's up to you what you put in the bag. So yeah, love this setup that way. Somebody asked me about the gearing on this bike. So it does have not the smallest gear on this bike isn't quite as smallest as the one on my touring bike, but I have 3 rings in the front on the touring bike. It's a 4832 on this bike in the front, and it's 1134 in the back, so I've got that extra ability to spin with this weight on the back on a dirt road and still get up the hills, and I did pretty well, I think, with the extra weight on the bike. So the gearing is great. This definitely does the job, and it does the job well on road. So I think it's finding that balance of knowing the terrain you're going to ride and, you know, how much is going to be on road and off road. The sad news is I have to send the bike back. But I thank Rutland for giving me the chance to experience off-road cycling. It's, you know, expanded my horizons a little more. And next up is mountain biking for me. And then the decision as to if there'll be another bike in the house. Yeah, we'll see. If I was starting over from scratch, I would probably go for an adventure style bike as my touring bike, and then sort of have the best of both worlds, maybe have 2 sets of wheels for that bike. But I really love my touring bike, so I'm not getting rid of it. It's also a fantastic utility bike for around town. So I'm not getting rid of my Brody. Cannot do that. So if I'm going to add a 3rd bike into my collection, as an off-road bike, I need to make a decision of, should it be a mountain bike or should it be sort of an adventure gravel bike? Stay tuned. I don't even know. I'm still exploring it. Journey continues. You'll have to keep watching. If you have any questions, comments, let me know below as usual. I always enjoy your conversations, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks as always for watching.